When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the WA roots, TN fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Power Earth Studios to AEW Rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. WWE, yeah, we talking big lift. TWA roots, TN fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, yeah, we live for the grind. We talk kings, icons, the rookies on deck. Champions with the gold hanging right on their neck. The moments that shock you, the promos that hit, those fight forever chants. Yeah, we feel all of it. We salute every brand, every style in the ring. Strong style, lucha libre man, wrestling is king. From old school brawls to the high risk flights, we celebrate the craft and the love of the fight. Podcast vibes with that pay-per-view feel. Every episode hits like a main event deal. Aaron on the mic, yeah, he keeping it real. Breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal. Yeah, breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal.
When the crowd goes silent and the bell echoes through the arena, when destiny calls, we answer.
This is for the fans. This is for the passion. This is wrestling. Boom, let the storm hit. Feel the world shift. WWE and double, here we talking big lift. NWA roots, TNR in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Legends rise up when the fire aligns. Aaron loves wrestling where the world collides. From the square circle to your speakers, this is Aaron loves wrestling. Let the love for wrestling live forever. When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the WA roots, TN fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Power Earth Studios to AEW Rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. WWE, yeah, we talking big lift. TWA roots, TN fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. champions with the gold hanging right on their neck. The moments that shock you, the promos that hit, those fight forever chants. Yeah, we feel all of it. We salute every brand, every style in the ring. Strong style, lucha libre man, wrestling is king. From old school brawls to the high-risk flights, we celebrate the craft and the love of the fight. Podcast vibes with that pay-per-view feel. Every episode hits like a main event deal. Aaron on the mic, yeah, he keeping it real. Breaking wrestling down with that champion peel. Yeah, breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal.
When the crowd goes silent and the bell echoes through the air.
When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the WA roots, TFI in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Power Earth Studios to AEW Rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Aaron Loves Wrestling Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Love himself, Aaron, and I am here to talk about AEW Dynamite and Collision Holiday Bash. What a great show it was. 3 hours. I enjoyed it from start to finish. I love 3-hour wrestling shows, and I am excited. I was excited for Dynamite last night, and I hope in the future next year, Dynamite can be a 3-hour show. They got the roster, they got the talent. They can put AEW Dynamite to a 3-hour show, keep Collision at 2, but have Dynamite at 3. And I would love that because they got the talent. They got the talent, and they can have some more matches and some more stories involved, more talent to get on the show. So I would love for Dynamite to go 3 hours in the future. But I enjoy the special episodes before a pay-per-view of a 3-hour Dynamite, or what they did with the summer blockbuster, 4 hours, which that was awesome. So I enjoyed it. But first thing I want to talk about before I get into Dynamite, because I seen this all over the socials, and you know my opinions of this particular fella. And I'm not going to mention his name or anything on here or put up the tweet, but I shared it on my Twitter, so you can go on there and see what I had to say about this particular individual, because I disagree with him a lot what he says, especially with this, because this is the most ridiculous statement that I have heard anybody probably say. And this is the reason I come to defense of AEW so much, is because of podcasts like this and guys like this who talk so much negative and hate about the company. It's one thing to have a criticism and opinion, but it's another thing when you have constantly hated on every little thing that AEW does. It cannot give them any sort of credibility or praise or anything of that matter. And that's what bothers me about a lot of people within the IWC. If you give me your honest opinion why you don't like the company, and you just stick with WWE or whatever company you stick with, like New Japan or TNA, etc., then I will accept that. But when you constantly trash and hate on a company constantly as much as this one does, that's where I don't value your opinion no more. That's why I just say it's nonsense. And this is why I do what I do, because I'm going to give a, uh, a positive show and critique of AEW here in a minute. Because there's going to be some things I didn't like, but most of the show I did like and I had fun with. So with that being said, this individual said, he's that guy from New York, Sports Illustrated Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for 2025, bought and paid for by Tony Khan. So blatantly a counter by AEW using that platform to peddle their BS, no cussing on the show, against WWE/ESPN. How anyone believes the slop they put together for that article is beyond me. It reads like a press release cosplaying as a journalism. There's no analyst, no balance, just agenda dressed up as credibility. So it's okay that they give WWE most of the awards last year, which rightfully so. There was a lot of good that happened in WWE last year compared to AEW, because I enjoyed WWE myself last year more so than AEW as well. And then this year, it's vice versa. I enjoyed AEW more than WWE. Who knows? We'll see what we'll see in 2026. I'm more hyped for AEW than I am WWE, but I'm still hyped on WWE and hoping things get better. With that being said, the make that claim that this the Sports Illustrated Wrestling was bought out by Tony Khan to give his wrestlers and his shows all the praise and all the awards is just ridiculous. If you have the evidence, please, by all means, present the evidence. Let me see. Let everyone see. Prove us wrong. But until then, your opinion, what you said, is absolutely false, and it's just a hateful narrative to say, just to hate on a company that for some reason you have some kind of agenda against. I don't know why. I've seen many people say that this guy wasn't allowed in to the All In party one year, a couple years ago. So with that, if that's the case, if that's true, then I can see why he is upset and hateful on the company. Does it mean it's right? No. But if that isn't true, I want to know why you scream and holler and say all this type of negativity and hate towards one company, or I would say professional wrestling in general, but mainly a lot so AEW, the WWE. I just don't understand it. I just don't know why you keep watching something you don't like, and then to say NXT is a garbage show when it's not, and to say TNA is a garbage show when it's not, to say Collision is garbage and it's not, and make the statements that quote unquote nobody watches, which is false. It's just nonsense. So that's my opinion on that. I just find it ridiculous. I'm done with that. So we're going to get into the show. What I want to first start off with is the Continental Classic. That's right, Continental Classic. As you can see, we have Kazuchika in the Gold League, Kazuchika Okada with 6 points, Speedball Mike Bailey with 6 points, Kyle Fletcher with 6 points, Kevin Knight with 3. Yes, I'm hoping he comes back because I want him to win. And then Pac with 6, and you have Jungle Jack Perry with 0, which he just recently filled in for Darby Allin. So we'll see if he bounces back and gets a win here. Next, we have the Blue League, which you have John Moxley with 6, Claudio Castagnoli and Takeshita tied at 7. You have Roderick Strong with 0, and he is now out of the Continental Classic after losing to John Moxley last night. Mascara Dorada with 3, and Orange Cassidy with 6, which Mascara Dorada lost to Orange Cassidy last night. So this is the Continental Classic so far. And it's hard to say who's going to be in the semifinal and the finals. I'm going to go with, for the Gold League, I think it's going to be Speedball Mike Bailey and Kyle Fletcher in the finals or semifinal for the Gold League. And then I'm going to call John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli and Takeshita in the semifinals in the Blue League. That's what I'm calling for the Continental Classic at World's End, the semifinals for the Blue League, Claudio Castagnoli and Takeshita for the semifinals in the Blue League. And then for the Gold League, I'm going with Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kyle Fletcher. Now for the finals for the Continental Championship, I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. I want to say both of them is going to be in the finals. And I'm going to call that Kyle Fletcher wins this thing, becomes the Continental Champion. That's what I'm thinking. This is going to be an interesting Continental Classic. I really want Kevin Knight to win, so hopefully I'm wrong on my prediction. But that is my prediction for the Continental Classic. Please let me know what your opinion is on the Continental Classic. Who do you got going into the semifinal and the finals? Who is your pick to win the entire thing, become the Continental Champion? But that is my pick. It's going to come down to Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. And then Kyle Fletcher is going to win and get the Continental Championship. That's what I'm calling. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you got in the semifinals and finals of the Continental Classic. Now, for AEW Dynamite, let's talk about it. The Holiday Bash. We first had the kick off the show was an incredible 18 to 20-minute match by Jon Moxley and Roderick Strong. Again, this was the Blue League for the Continental Classic. And Jon Moxley wins and earning 3 points in that match, totaling the 6 as you just saw, and that makes Roderick Strong out of the Continental Classic. He has been eliminated. And again, that was a great way to open up the show, great way to open up AEW Dynamite Holiday Bash. And it was a great match. Roderick Strong and Jon Moxley have been put on great matches. Same thing with Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. They've been putting on great matches. And this match right here was a great way to open the show. I give this match a solid B. And I enjoyed this match overall. And again, Jon Moxley with the win, earning 3 more points, totaling to 6 for the Blue League and the Continental Classic. So I believe that I don't think Jon Moxley is going to win it. And with this Death Rider story of him losing, he finally gets a win here, but he's been losing for the past few weeks. He finally gets a win. But I think eventually he is going to be kicked out as the leader of the Death Riders. And I think Pac is going to be the new leader of the Death Riders. That's what I'm calling. He's going to be the new leader. I'm getting tired of Jon Moxley losing and costing them titles and costing them a whole lot. So we'll see how this goes. And they'll turn Jon Moxley babyface and be another top babyface within the company. Next, we got the trios match with Don Callis' family, Hishishiro, Kazuchika Okada, and Konosuke Takeshita going up against the Elite, Kenny Omega, and Matt and Nick Jackson. And I love how the Young Bucks brought back the classic Be Elite, Be Elite. I love that thing. Glad that they brought it back. A lot of people were expecting them to bring back the Wayward Son entrance that they did a couple years ago, but I enjoyed this classic throwback because it was great. Once I heard the theme, I was jamming to it and I was excited. But this was really cool, and I love how you had Okada and Omega stare each other down in the ring again and go at it one-on-one. I wonder if we'll get a 6 match out of these two between Okada and Omega down the road, maybe. But I love that the Elite is back together with Omega and Matt and Nick Jackson. Hopefully they'll be able to go for the Trios Championships up against the Ops. So, but this match was great. And this was a good match. Another B for me for this match. And the Elite win by pinfall and win the $1 million. They win with a 1-wing angel combination on Hechicero, to win the 1 million. They're not millionaires, and now with Kenny Omega involved, maybe the Young Bucks won't blow through the money again. But this was a good way to end this match and the Elite back together. I love it. It adds to the trios division, and I am glad to see that Kenny Omega is still wrestling, is still going. Hopefully, we'll get some more one-on-one matches later down the road. But I love that he's at least doing the trios, and he is on this with the Young Bucks to help him with the workload. And I hope he don't get many more injuries later, because I love seeing Kenny Omega and him being out for the longest that he was a couple years ago or last year. That I missed him, and then when he returned, I was excited, and I'm glad that he's back. It was great to see him go up against Okada at All in Texas, which I was there for. It was so much fun. So yeah, Kenny Omega back with the Young Bucks and the Elite. I love that they are all back together. So this was really, really great. Now we get to the segment of the night, and this was Hangman Adam Page with Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe. And this was a great segment right here. Samoa Joe, he starts talking first, and he apologizes for bringing the colleagues, Hook and Powerhouse, but he just wanted to make sure everybody was safe and nothing was going to happen and nobody was going to attack anybody, etc., etc. Swerve then gets on the mic and he starts talking about Hangman Page, that they've been going at it and been at each other, been on different paths. And then they can happen to hate one another, but they have respect for one another. They both have respect for one another, even though they had their differences in the past. They have respect for one another, and they have a mutual hatred. They don't hate one another, but they have a mutual hatred for Samoa Joe. And the last time that they had a contract signing, Samoa Joe put him down so bad they had to sign the contract in a pool of his own blood. And then he reminded Joe that he took the title from him after that and won the AEW Men's World Championship for Samoa Joe. And he said that this is one good thing I love that he said that he's going to take that title and leave a boot print so bad it would be worse than that face tattoo worn back in 2007, which I love how Fightful put up the throwback. They had the clip with the picture of Samoa Joe with that face tattoo they had in TNA back in 2007, which it was a pretty bad tattoo. It looked weird. No, honestly, it looked like a freaking, I don't know, something was about to eat his eye or something, the way it was shaped. But Swerve, he then later says to end it that you can bring your army, you bring your big guns, but you cannot kill God with bullets. And what a statement there to end his promo. And then you Hangman Adam Page get on. And I love Hangman's promo. And one thing I want to point out about Hangman Adam Page is one thing I do love is that when you see him with the AEW Men's World Championship, is he has that nice brown jacket on. And then when you don't see him with AEW Men's World Championship without it, he has the black jacket. I love how the little things like that matter in AEW, because those little things I love, because now we're seeing a different side with Hangman without that Men's World Championship, and I love that little detail right there. But Hangman and Page starts reminding everyone that a few months ago they were all on the same page to take out the John Moxley and Death Riders. They were all on the same page. And that they ended their Death Riders' reign of terror. And they just had to put it together, and figure it out sooner. Joe might have been the one to beat him, and the same with Swerve, but at All In Texas, when they finally figured it out, it was left to Hangman Adam Page to get the job done. And he did it. It became the AEW Men's World Champion and had a great title run after that. I don't care what anybody says. And then he gave Samoa Joe an opportunity at Wrestle Dream, and he failed at that opportunity. So what'd he do? Samoa Joe turned to Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata, and also the Hook. He became worse than the Death Riders on their worst day. So he just compared the Ops to the Death Riders, but said the Death Riders were better than the Ops. So Page continues and said that he planned on defending the title against everyone who helped him out, against Darby Allin, against Will Ospreay, and he knew their time would come as world champion. When once again he stand across the ring from Swerve, Strickland said he came back to AEW to challenge for world champion. If it hadn't been for Joe, it would have been him that he would have given Swerve a world title run, and much deserved for helping him win. But that's not the world we live in, and he doesn't know who's going to leave this three-way as a champion, but he knows for sure it's not going to be Joe, who has messed up worse than he knows, making an enemy out of both Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. And he's right on that. He's right. So Hangman Adam Page signs the contract. Toni Schiavone hypes it up, and then all of a sudden the lights go out. And at first, I thought it was going to be Darby Allin. I was like, whoa, we get Darby. But then NJF music hits, and I was like, what? And then he comes out, and he execute his Casino Gauntlet contract, which now the rule, the stipulation of it, you have to give it. Excuse me, y'all. You have to give it a week in advance. You can't just randomly cash in, a surprise cash in anymore. To protect the integrity of the sport, Tony Khan changed the rules, and he put on that. He made the rule that the Casino Gauntlet now has to be executed and a week before the world title match. And I love how Tony Khan had changed that, something different. And MJF comes out and he adds him up to the match. So now we have a 4-way match for the AEW Men's World Championship. So MJF comes out, he signs the contract, and he cuts his promo. And he calls Hangman Seabiscuit again. Do we need to remind MJF the story of Seabiscuit one more time? I mean, Hangman already did remind MJF of that once. Do we need to do it again? Did MJF forget already? But he says he wants to hurt Hangman, not just by taking his title, but beating him and two of his greatest rivals in one fell swoop. He wants to beat Samoa Joe and Swerve at that, on top of Hangman Adam Page. So that Adam Page and Adam Page's fans, which I'm one of them, and I took this a little personally, has no excuses. We'll see about that in MJF. Joe starts talking, but MJF yells at him to shut his mouth, and he gets in Joe's face and asks if Joe is mad and going to quote him a big super villain guy. He's not afraid of Joe anymore, but he still hates him, and he's mad that he took the title from him. And unfortunately, these people decide to go down as these people decide, we the people, decide who goes down as the all-time great. So he needs to go down as an all-time great, and Samoa Joe put a speed bump on that. But it's all over now. He's going to make Joe fall back harder than his hairline, which I thought that was hilarious. At the same place he ended his title reign, Max is going to end his. If you remember, Samoa Joe ended MJF's title reign at World's End in 2023, at the end of 2023. Then he looks to Swerve and says, Swerve says, if there's anybody, Gluteus Maximus, needs to be afraid of it in this ring, it's him. And then MJF gets on the mic, and they both call themselves. Swerve reminds MJF a musician. They both call themselves moguls, and they were both dog crap rappers. And he said, "Oh right, it's P Diddy." Oh, and of course, everybody was like, "Ah." And he said, "Whose house is it? Let's talk about that." MJF says that he knows Swerve, but since they started grinding on the indies together, he's known him as Shane. And while MJF came to AEW, he became the greatest star in the history of this company, Swerve Strickland, and he name dropped WWE on AEW television, which I love. I thought that was fun. I thought it was great. And a perfectly, then the crowd's reaction when he said that, or he was like, "Oh, a perfectly good company, is it?" But then MJF says that he had a good run there. Not so great. But he thoroughly enjoyed watching Swerve Strickland work for Top Dollar, which was the Hit Row was the group Swerve was in with Top Dollar and BFAB and WWE. And then he came knocking on his door in AEW, and MJF let him in. He achieved great things. He became jacked and won tag titles, then beat Sloppy Joe for the world title, which he held for 126 days, and then MJF drops his 406-day title reign. But he's like, who's counting? So then he says, after that, they have a problem now. Swerve and MJF have a problem because Swerve is in his way. Swerve stomping around like he owns this place, and he's been a very messy tenant. So no, this isn't his house, it's Max's house, and the rent is due, and the devil's come to collect. And that was a great line there. So he says he's going to reclaim his title, the Triple B. And then that's when he ends it, and he walks out. So and he says that as Maxwell Jacob Freeman is better than you, and then the crowd finishes the line, you know it, and then he drops the mic and exits the ring. So what a segment right there with MJF. I went through a long-winded segment there, but it was great. I enjoyed that segment through and through. And I love how MJF name dropped WWE there just for fun. And of course, the crowd's reaction was funny. It was priceless. And I love how AEW will add those little things in. It makes it fun. If we're going to make this competition now, then, come on. If we're going to make this competition now, which I don't care for competition. WWE stays in their lane, AEW stays in theirs. But MJF and AEW name dropping WWE, I thought that was great. My mouth dropped. And MJF, he's the greatest on the mic today. He will cut a promo and draw the heat, and he's one of the greatest heels in my opinion today. One of the greatest. You can't deny that. Honestly, MJF to me is a modern day Ric Flair. MJF is great. He's a great in-ring talent. He's a great on the mic, and he's a great heel. I don't want ever to see MJF. I don't ever see MJF as a heel or as a babyface again. I want to see him just stay a heel and remain a heel and just become the new dirtiest player in the game. And he can win the title at World's End. I would love to see Hangman win the title. I really do. I really want to see Hangman win the title, but I have a feeling MJF is going to win this title. I really, really do. I think MJF is going to win this at World's End, which we got some of the matches set up right now. So far, 6 matches have been set up for at World's End. Well, 7 matches technically have been set up for at World's End. And we have, which I will go back, talk about that at the end of this review. So, again, that was a great segment. I loved it, and it was really fun. And Heyman Adam Page, love my boy, and hope at World's End that he wins AEW Men's World Championship. And I hope it's not MJF. I hope it's Heyman Adam Page. This is how I would have done the title. I really disagree with Heyman Adam Page's title run ending the way it did at Full Gear. It should have been Heyman continuing his title run all the way up to AEW Revolution. And then that's where Hangman Adam Page could drop the title to Kyle Fletcher, have Kyle Fletcher challenge Hangman, challenge him again for the world title, and win the AEW Men's World Championship. Because Kyle Fletcher is there. He's one of the top stars in AEW, and I would love to see him win the AEW Men's World Championship and have him go up against Hangman one more time because they had a banger of a match, my match of the year at AEW All Out. They can have that again at Revolution. Have Kyle Fletcher win against Hangman and be the new world champion. Here comes in Will Ospreay. He goes and enters the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Will Ospreay wins it, and then next year in London for the main event for the AEW Men's World Championship, we'll get Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. That's how I would have booked it. Could have kept Hangman as champion just a little while longer. He'd go up against Kyle Fletcher, the next rising star in AEW. And then we have him going a title run until London, give him a nice title run with the AEW Men's World Championship, and then Will Ospreay can win it and be the champion after all in London. That's how I would have done it. But we'll see how this goes at World's End on who wins, because it's going to be an interesting match, and I'm interested in seeing who's going to win. Samoa Joe might very well retain. His title run might continue. But we'll see how this ends. I really hope Hangman wins the title back. I wouldn't mind seeing MJF as AEW Men's World Champion either. Next, we get the 8-woman tag match with Athena, Marina Shafir, Megan Bayne, and Mercedes Mone go up against the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale, and the Timeless Love Bombs, Mina Shirakawa, and Toni Storm. And this was a really great match right there. This was a really great match. I enjoyed it. I give this match a solid C. I thought this was a really good match. I give it a C. You had the heels win in the end. Mercedes Moné, Athena, and Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir, which, by the way, Marina Shafir, Jon Moxley has elevated her and has helped her career out a lot. Since she has joined the Death Rider, she has been a top star in the women's division. And so since Marina Shafir has joined Death Riders, it has done wonders for her in her career. But yeah, so Mercedes Moné gets the pin on Willow. And since that happened, now we have at World's End, Mercedes Moné and Athena go up against the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. Next, we get Kyle Fletcher versus Pac, and this was my match of the night. Kyle Fletcher and Pac put on a great match, 20 minutes long, fantastic. This is for the Gold League and the Continental Classic. Pac gets the win. I think Pac is the dark horse here in this whole thing. He might win. I might be wrong, and Kyle Fletcher don't win this thing, and Pac does. But I'm still calling Kyle Fletcher to win this thing. But Pac, he's the dark horse. He might win, and that would push him more to be the leader of the Death Riders by winning this tournament and winning the title. Because Jon Moxley's also in there, and Claudio. So if Pac wins and defeats both of them, then he eventually could be the new leader of the Death Riders. And they kick Jon Moxley out of the group because he keeps losing. And thanks to Jon Moxley, the Death Riders lost everything. The Trios titles, the AEW Men's World Championship. So Pac could have that, and then they can have a match to determine who the leader of the group is. Pac wins. Jon Moxley puts Pac over, and then Jon Moxley's out of the group, and then we get a babyface run with Jon Moxley. He can come back with his old school theme as well, maybe Wild Thing, and then we'll see that back again from Jon Moxley. And then next we go into the Dynamite. I give this match for Kyle Fletcher and Pac, by the way. I give this an A+. Again, this was my match of the night. The Dynamite Battle Royale, well, it was a good match. It was good. I wouldn't have ended it on this note. I would have ended it on Kyle Fletcher and Pac. I would have done this match before their match because this, to me, it was okay. It was pretty good. I gave it a solid C on this as well. But Bandito and Ricochet are the final two, and they advance to the singles match next week for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and whoever wins that will challenge the AEW Men's World Champion after that. Who knows? It might be Bandito. You never know. They might be trying to push Bandito as the AEW Men's World Champion because Bandito has been another rising star in AEW. And has had a great run with the Ring of Honor World Championship. And a lot of people are saying he's the wrestler of the year and his match with Heshitaro on Ring of Honor, on the one of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, that was the I think it was Death Before Dishonor. Yeah, that one. Well, they went about 47 minutes long. That match is the match of the year. That's what they're called, which was a fantastic match. I watched it and it was phenomenal. But yeah, so we get after that, Jon Moxley cuts a promo backstage. He says he likes the Continental Classic because it's simple. Step in the ring under the lights, bring everything you have, and it all gets laid bare. There's nowhere to hide, and the tournament reveals something about you. He pushes people's buttons, antagonizes them, and pulls them along when they don't want to be. Some people react differently than others. Some people come harder. Some become monsters, like Kyle O'Reilly trying to pull his foot off. Roderick Strong let them 30 seconds away from being SOL. Crap out of luck in this tournament. And whatever happens, he just wants to know when it's over that he didn't leave any bullets in the chamber and that he let it all out there. What a promo by Jon Moxley. I love Jon Moxley and his promos. Jon Moxley is one of the best heels in the game as well. The whole Death Riders thing and him putting the title and the briefcase last year for the story leading up to All In Texas to give Hangman his win and putting Hangman over. And that's what I kept saying all year long, was that this is why they were putting the title in the briefcase, is to build up the next top babyface in AEW, and they did with Heyman Adam Page. So Jon Moxley doing that and putting over Heyman Adam Page was phenomenal. It was great. It was great storytelling. The matches were great, and the Texas Death Match at All In Texas, which I kept calling leading up to it. I could say they're going to get a Texas Death Match. There's no way that they don't, and they did. And then that was a great way to end All In Texas. I was there, had fun, and I can't wait to go to another AEW pay-per-view again. Hopefully I can go to All In London. We'll see how the finances are then. Wouldn't mind traveling out of the country, especially London. I hear it's great. So after that, we go to the AEW Collision Holiday Bash. So we had to switch over to Collision. We had the Blue League tournament for the Continental Classic. It was Mascara, Dorada, and Orange Cassidy. And we had Orange Cassidy win this match by pinfall, by pinning him with the crucifix there at the end. A nice little roll-up. But this match was great. I really enjoyed this match. I gave it a solid B. Orange Cassidy, Mascara, Dorada had a great match, and it was a great way to open up Collision. So Orange Cassidy gets the win here, and he goes from 3 points to 6 in the Continental Classic. Again, as you saw earlier in the screen earlier with the Continental Classic tournament and how it's looking. But this here was, again, a great match. I loved it. Post-match, Cassidy tosses Dorada his sunglasses, which the Luchador tries and fails to put over his mask, showing some respect to Mascara Dorada. Again, they had a great match in the ring. I love the wrestling. I thought it was awesome. When they come back from commercial, we have Mercedes and Athena interview backstage, and that's when they lay down the challenge for the AEW Women's Tag Team title. So we'll see what happens there. Next, we get Isla Dawn, which I'm glad to see her in AEW. She's going up against Jamie Hayter, which Jamie Hayter is my favorite on the women's roster. Love her, and I hope she wins the AEW Women's World Championship at World's End. But they had a solid match as well. I give this a good C plus, a good C plus for this one. But they had a solid match as well for them. Towards the end of the match, post match, not towards the end, Jamie Hayter wins by pinfall over Isla Dawn by hitting her with a haterade and getting the pin. Post match, you had the Triangle of Madness come out. Thekla and Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and they come out and attack Jamie Hayter. And then here comes Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander is holding up I think it was Sky Blue there, and then Tekla pushed her out of the way. And then as Jamie was going for the haterade, she hit Chris Statlander with it instead. And then she does a little shoulder shrug, like, and then she holds up the AEW Women's World Championship, and that's how we ended. So I thought that match was a pretty good, solid C. And then we had the AEW Men's World Tag Team Championship, and you had FTR, Dax, and Hardwood and Cash Wheeler go up against Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn, and Rock Hard Juice Robinson for the AEW Men's World Tag Team titles. I thought this match was fantastic as well. I give this a good B. Again, you have FTR win by submission and retain the AEW Men's World Tag Team titles. He inverted a figure 4 deathlock from Dax Hardwood onto Juice Robinson, and they win by submission and retaining the AEW Men's World Tag Team titles, which, again, I thought was a great match. I get a good solid B. And that ends Collision. That ends our 3-hour Holiday Bash with Dynamite and Collision. I thought it was awesome. I really would like Dynamite to go 3 hours in 2026. I hope Tony Khan's listening and he hears, and we get Dynamite going to 3 hours in 2026. So that was the end of Collision. Overall, for Dynamite and Collision, I give a good solid B. I thought this was a great show. I enjoyed it. Again, I had some critiques in there, but overall, the show was great. Especially the Continental Classic matches. I enjoyed all those matches, and I'm glad for this tournament. If you don't know anything about the Continental Classic tournament, it's the American version of the New Japan World Champion G1 tournament, which you don't know that what it is. So they have this tournament. Whoever wins the G1 tournament, they go on and face the IWGP World Champion. Except for this case, whoever wins the Continental Classic becomes the Continental Champion, which I like. I love it. I think it's great. I love tournaments in wrestling. Makes it sport-centered, and that's what I love about AEW is they have a lot of sport-centered aspects with tournaments and everyone wrestling to earn their spot, and that's what I love about AEW. I love the special 3-hour show, but I would love for Dynamite to go to 3 hours in 2026 because I think they got the roster and the talent to do so. The talent is there. And we can see more of the talent on AEW Dynamite, it going to 3 hours, and then we can see the pay-per-views kind of cut back just a little bit. I enjoy the pay-per-views, but if we're going to be doing these 4 to 5 hour pay-per-views, having them during the afternoon instead of the evening time. But for me, I want to sit and watch, but for most people, it gets tiring for them. It gets exhausted. When I went to All In Texas and I was there for the 6 hours of the show, I thought it was great from start to finish, and I enjoyed my time. Especially when you're there, you enjoy your time. When you're watching at home, you can enjoy your time, but a lot of people get winded when it comes to these long pay-per-views. So you can shorten it just a little bit. Extend Dynamite to 3 hours, keep Collision at 2. And but I do love the 3-hour specials that we see before the pay-per-views. So at least that could continue to be a thing, especially in 2026. And we'll see how 2026 goes for AEW. We're coming into the end of 2025. We're having Christmas next week. And then after that, New Year's. And then we'll be in 2026 officially. So when we come to the new year, we'll see what happens with AEW. I thought AEW had a great year in 2025. A way better year than in 2024. And I think in 2026, we will see more. We'll see AEW rise more and be better than they were in 2025. And then we'll see by 2027. I hope to go to a pay-per-view next year as well. I'm hoping to go to the Collision episode in Arlington, Texas near me. on January 2nd. We're waiting to see what the finances and about my time off. So I am waiting for that. But I enjoyed AEW Dynamite Collision Holiday Bash last night. I thought it was fantastic. Again, gave the show a solid B. And now let's get into the World's End pay-per-view that we got so far. So far for AEW World's End pay-per-view, which is next Saturday, we have the Continental Classic semifinal and championship final match, which will declare either Okada retaining the title, the Continental Championship, or we'll have a new champion. Which, like I said, I got Kyle Fletcher winning, but it could be Pac. It could be Pac. We will see. We have this going on at World's End, the Continental Classic, the semifinals and final championship match. And then following that, we'll have the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship. We have the Babes of Wrath going up against Mercedes Moné and Athena. Harley, Cameron, and Willow Nightingale are having a great title run as the AEW Women's World Champions. And I'm glad that we got AEW Women Tag Team titles in AEW. Well deserved for the women's division. And I'm glad we have it because now we can get matches like this. So we'll see what happens here. And if Mercedes Moné will yet again collect another belt. But I like the tag team belts on Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. They're great champions, and it would be great to see them to remain champions. And they need to continue to build new tag teams and the women's division to continue this run with the AEW Women Tag Team titles, because I believe that they have something here with the AEW Women Tag Team titles. And if they just continue with that, throwing some tournaments here and there, I love that the AEW, that the women in AEW have tag team titles. Hopefully, we can get another one for the women's division, possibly a new women's tag team title. Maybe some have said a Continental Championship women's division. I don't like that. I don't think we need another copy from the men for the women. We can have something else thought up. But I love this, and hopefully in 2026 we get an all elite women's pay-per-view and call it All Elite Women. That's what I would like. AEW All Elite Women, because that would be a great way to put some shine on the women's division in AEW. They have a great roster, talented roster in AEW for the women. So hopefully we'll get that next year in 2026. So after this, we have the Women's World Championship with Chris Statlander, the champion, put her title on the line against Jamie Hayter. I honestly believe Jamie Hayter is going to win here, and she's going to be the AEW Women's World Champion again. I really do hope so, because I love Jamie Hayter. She's one of the my favorites on the women's roster, and she's a great talent. I love the finishing move, the Haterade, and her having a title run again would be great. And it would be great going into 2026 and see what feuds we can get with that. So I got Jamie Hayter in this match. Next week, I'm going to put on a World's End prediction once we find out fully what we got going at World's End, all the matches. So I'm going to wait till we get all the matches announced. So that's what I'm waiting for. But so far, we have 7. We have the Women's World the semifinals and the finals of the Continental Classic. We have the women's tag team titles on the line. We have the women's championship on the line. And then now we have the fatal 4-way. The AEW Men's World Championship is on the line in a 4-way match with the champion Samoa Joe putting his title on the line against Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, and now added MJF. So I'm going with my boy Heyman in this one. But I wouldn't hate if Swerve or MJF won the title as well. I don't know about Samoa Joe retaining. I'm not feeling him as champion. That's just me. But I would love it to see Heyman Adam Page win the title back and become a 3-time AEW Men's World Champion. But if Swerve wins or MJF wins, I wouldn't hate that either. So let me know what you think so far for AEW World's End. Who do you got winning this Continental Classic? Who do you got in the semifinals and then in the finals? of this tournament and who is going to win the AEW Continental Championship. Let me know who you think is going to win the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles. Will the Babes of Wrath retain, or will Mercedes Mone and Athena win the titles and Mercedes Mone yet again collects another belt? Who do you got in the AEW Women's World Championship match? Do you have Chris Statlander retaining, or do you have Jamie Hayter winning? I got Jamie Hayter. And then, of course, the AEW Men's World Championship match, the four-way match with Smojo, putting his title on the line against Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, and MJF. I'm going with my boy, the Cowboy, Hangman Adam Page. But let me know who you got. Who are you going to pick to win this? That's not it. We're going to have more matches announced. I'm sure the AEW Men's World Tag Team titles will be put on the line. I also will believe the TNT title will be on the line and possibly some other matches as well. So let me know what you think of it. World's End. This was again a great show. Dynamite and Collision Holiday Bash. I give it a solid B. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of last night's show. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Trying to get to at least 400 subscribers by the end of the year. We got 2 weeks left. I'm almost to 400. I'm at 362. We're almost there. 28 more to go. So help me out. 38 more to go. 38 more to go. Help me out. Help me out. We're getting to 400. I'd like to get to 500, but we can get to 400. This is a podcast that just loves professional wrestling. I will critique, give my honest opinion of things, but at the end of the day, I'm here to stay positive. I'm here to share the love and be a light in the wrestling community. That is it. That's all I'm here to do. So if you're about that, hit the subscribe button. If you're about that, go follow me on X. Go follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads. Go follow me. You can even hit the follow button on Facebook. I got a Facebook page as well. Not on it as much as the other socials, but you can definitely follow me on X. That's where I really like to start the pot, especially when it comes to defending AEW. But subscribe to my YouTube. Help me build this YouTube channel because I am here about being positive, sharing the love and the light in the wrestling community. But yes, you can still critique things, but still be positive about it. You can still critique things and be positive about it. You ain't gotta call a company garbage. You ain't gotta scream and holler. You ain't gotta belittle people or put them down or call them names. You can still critique things and still be positive about it. And that is what I'm here to do. So if you're about that, hit the subscribe button, hit this like button, hit the hype button too on this video, and go check out my other videos. I got a interview with the NWA World TV Champion Brian Idol. Fire interview, love it. Go check that out. You can go check out my Saturday night's main event this past week's review. You can also go check out my episode yesterday about tribalism and why I hate it. And then this coming week, we'll try and squeeze in the SmackDown review and And then next week, I'm definitely going to squeeze in the Raw review and NWA Power review or NXT. We'll see which one. I might do a combo show for that one. But we're getting into Christmas next week. I ain't going to do too much because of family. I'm spending time with my family for Christmas. So I'm going to do what I can. But appreciate everyone for supporting me. Thank you for everyone who has supported me so far, especially you AEW fans out there. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love everybody. And I'm open to a debate. So I'm throwing it down. If you're a podcast out there and you want to debate, especially about AEW, let me know because I'm here for that. We can still agree to disagree. We can be respectful about it. We ain't got to put each other down. We got to belittle one another. But we can still debate. So let me know about that. I love all y'all. Let me know what you thought of the last night's show. Let me know what you think of World's End and what your predictions are so far. And again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future episodes. I love all y'all. I love professional wrestling. Stay all elite, everybody, and have a blessed weekend and Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the WA roots, TM fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Power Earth Studios to AEW Rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. WWE, yeah, we talking big lift. TWA roots, TM fire in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, yeah, we live for the grind. We talk kings, icons, the rookies on deck. Champions with the gold hanging right on their neck. The moments that shock you, the promos that hit, those fight forever chants. Yeah, we feel all of it. We salute every brand, every style in the ring. Strong style, lucha libre man, wrestling is king. From old school brawls to the high risk flights, we celebrate the craft and the love of the fight. Podcast vibes with that pay-per-view feel. Every episode hits like a main event deal. Aaron on the mic, yeah, he keeping it real. Breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal. Yeah, breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal.
When the crowd goes silent and the bell echoes through the arena, when destiny calls, we answer.